Hi everybody, welcome back to Keeping It Real with Marilyn and Steve. Today we're going to be making some thyme syrup, just in case you may need something to help with those colds or coughs during the winter season. So our recipe for thyme syrup today is coming from Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide. This is an amazing book. I'll make sure that I leave a link in the description in case you want to check it out. A lot of great information in here. So today's recipe, 3 very simple ingredients. We are going to use a quart of water, we're going to be using thyme, and we're going to be using local honey. So if you can't get local honey, you can pick regular honey up at the grocery store. Local honey is always the best to use in any kind of a recipe. If you look the recipe for thyme syrup up in the book, you're going to see that her measurements are usually done with fresh herbs, and because we're a little past the middle of January here in New England, fresh thyme is not something that we have in our garden right now. So we're going to be using some thyme that we had harvested out of our garden this fall and then run through our freeze dryer. So these will be our ingredients. Let me start getting things put into the pot, and we'll go over the simple recipe for this syrup. Okay, so very simply we're going to take our quart of water and pour it into our pot. Now we're cooking this on our wood cook stove, and I have the pot on top of a trivet because we want to keep this at a low heat. We only want this to simmer, we don't want it to boil. So now I'm going to add a cup of freeze-dried thyme. Now you could do this in a tea baller if you wanted to, but what we're going to do is we're going to strain this when it's done. So what I'm going to do is just get the thyme down into the water. We want to bring this to a simmer, and then we're going to put a cover on it, and we're going to simmer it until about half of the water has dissipated. So we're going to leave the cover at a slight angle. Let me get this to a simmer, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes. So we've got our thyme and water mixture at a simmer. Our stove, we had to turn it down a little bit. The temperature in the house actually hit like 80 degrees. So we removed the trivet. It's still on a very low heat. And I wanted to explain one of the reasons for this is just like I said, we don't want it to boil, but we want it to reduce down to about half the measurement. Now we're using thyme. For anybody who's cooked with thyme, you know thyme is safe, it's non-toxic, but thyme is also a powerful disinfectant. It's rich in antioxidants, and is often used as a tea or an essential oil to help ward off colds, as a rinse to treat sore throats. You can drink it as a tea to treat coughs and chest complaints. Now the only thing you use on thyme is you use the flowers or the leaves. Now for this, if you're using fresh thyme, you can use the leaves as and the flowers. Because I'm using stuff that we had from our garden in the fall and it's now just past mid-January, I'm just using the leaves. So I'm at the point now where we're going to put the cover on. You can kind of see how the color is changing a little bit on it, but it's still got a ways to reduce down. So I'm just going to put the cover, leave a space open to allow the water to evaporate. We want to get this down to about half the amount we had, so down to about a pint, and I'll be back as soon as this finishes. So now we have simmered this thyme and water down to about half the amount of water that was in it before. So it is very warm still, so I'm using my oven mitt, but what I'm going to do is try to get this strained off. So I've had people ask, why do you do stuff like this? Why not just go buy it at the store? Well, right now, for anybody who has been following us, you know that we are doing a 90-day pantry challenge or no shopping challenge. So what that means is that we're not going to the store, we're not buying anything. So being able to make a cough suppressant or cough syrup if we need it. It's good to know how to do that, or let's just say you can't get out and can't get to the store and somebody's not feeling well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try pouring this, make a little bit of a mess. Get this a little quicker into the jar. Strain off the last of it. So this gives us a way to make something if for some reason we can't get to the store. Let's say there's a bad winter storm, we're at that time of year, somebody isn't feeling well, you don't realize you don't have anything on the shelf and you want to go be able to make something. Alright, so we've got that drained out. So now that step is complete. Let me clean this up and I'll be right back for the next step. Okay, so now we're ready to add our honey into the mix. So I'm going to measure out about a cup of honey to go in with what is almost 2 cups of our boiled down thyme and water. So I'm using, I think as I said before, local honey. And local honey is great because it helps you to fight off the allergies and things that you have from things that grow in your area. So any honey that you get is going to work, but if you're able to get local honey to use, that's even better. So now that we get this in, and with this still being warm, it does help the honey to dissolve and mix in better. So there we go. So I'm just going to give this a quick stir. Now this is something that is going to keep in your refrigerator for about 3 or 4 weeks. In general, it's something that you don't necessarily want to make if you're planning on keeping it long term, but in the fridge for 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to hold. If you've got somebody in the house who isn't feeling well, it should get you through what you need. So now that has blended in very well. Take that out. And it smells amazing. Now, for those of you who are questioning, is there a way to make it last a little bit longer? Yes, there is. If you add some brandy or something like that to it, you would do a 1/4 cup of your brandy to each cup of the thyme and honey mixture that you have here. And that's gonna maybe double the time it's gonna hold in the fridge. One reason for recommending something like a brandy is because it also has antispasmodic functions to a brandy. So if you've got a lot of coughing going on, it's going to help with that as well. And it might help you sleep a little bit better too if you're taking it at night. So this is an awesome option for you to have in the house if you can't get out to get something and you happen to have the ingredients in the house. It's also something natural. You can grow the thyme in your garden and preserve it and then have it ready for you for in the winter. So I am going to add about 1/2 cup of this in with ours. It's going to help it keep longer in the fridge, and we really only use this at night, and we're going to mix that up and put it in our fridge, and it'll be good with us for probably a few months. So that should hold us through to the end of the cough and cold and flu season. So thanks again for being with us, everybody. Remember, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you can share our video with anybody you think might be interested in this or any of our other videos, we'd be very appreciative. It helps our channel a lot. Thank you to everybody, and everybody have a great night. Bye. Okay, everybody, I almost forgot. The dosage on this is a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon every couple of hours until your cold or cough subsides. See everybody in the next video.